Hey everyone,
We're two Airbnb hosts.
we started an Airbnb business 2 years ago, and prior to that we didn't actually know each other.
So we're going to be explaining our story and how we actually met and how we decided to start an Airbnb business together.
One time for the Lord, one time for the cause, and one round of applause.
So I actually met Shana at a property event. We both connected, had similar goals and visions to what we wanted for our future and also in property in general. And that's when we decided to partner up and actually form a business together, well, a company together.
Yeah, and it's crazy, guys, because we didn't actually know each other. We'd met once, and then 2 months later, we opened a company together. So we didn't even know each other. So she was technically a stranger.
And the only reason why we decided to start a company together is because we both had different things we could bring to the company. Shana's was more time and mine was more money. And that's why we both essentially leveraged off each other.
Yeah, I think at the time I was working, but I didn't have the work that I was doing. I was working as a receptionist, so that was full time. But the job allowed me to still be able to call landlords and like speak with estate agents. So I was pretty flexible in that sense.
And I was working full time in a nursery, so I could never be on my phone. And I had time during the weekends, but during the weekdays I was pretty slumped through work, if I'm being honest. So I obviously still wanted to do Airbnb and tried to make it work regardless of my current situation, which I obviously did. And that's when you actually presented me with a property deal, which you found on OpenRent, and it stacked, it was profitable. And at the time I had around £4,000 saved, and that was the only bit of money I had left. And
Before we even started that business, I did mention that I had a receptionist job, but I was literally juggling so much things at once. So around the time I even got started with Diana, I had an Airbnb business that was losing me £12,000, which I'd done a video on, so click below to watch the video. I had an Airbnb business that was losing me so much money. I was also in uni at the time, and then I was juggling 2 jobs. So I had the receptionist job, and then I also was working in Nando's. So I was doing loads of different things, but I was literally flat out broke, guys. I was so broke because I had the property, an Airbnb property that was losing me money, and all my paycheck essentially went to that property. That's why I always say it's important you do your numbers if you are looking to take on a unit. But yeah, that's when I thought, okay, I'm gonna take out a loan, pay for mentorship, and essentially learn the business model the right way. And then once I'd literally learned everything, I found a really profitable deal. And I thought, okay, what should I do with this deal? Because I have no money to take it on. And then that's when obviously Diana said she had a bit more funds behind her.
yeah, so a bit about my background. I said I was working in a nursery, but again, I was also job hopping. So I was working a job, got bored, ended up going traveling, spending all my money, and then coming back broke and having to get a job again. And I was repeating that cycle for around 4 to 5 years when I kind of was just fed up of that lifestyle. And I was heading, well, I'm 28 now, but I was heading, at the time I was 24, but I'm heading towards 30, and I knew I wanted more stability and also financial freedom, which I knew my 9-to-5 job couldn't give me. And that's when I decided to invest my savings as well into a mentorship program to actually learn more a bit about the strategy, whilst also juggling 9-to-5. This time I actually used my money sensibly. I didn't splash it out on traveling, I actually splashed it out on an opportunity that could actually help me grow my money rather than just put me in bad debt. And that's when I decided to get a normal job again, save up my money, and then reinvest it into an Airbnb property that Shana found and presented me with. And
yeah, so I found this property on OpenRent, done the numbers, went to the viewing, and I thought, okay, this is a really good opportunity. Diana obviously had a bit more money behind her. Bearing in mind, guys, I say we, but she literally had £4,000, and this property, the rent for this property is £2,200. So we didn't really have a massive budget to work with, but we thought, okay, if we want to, start this business, we're gonna have to negotiate and haggle our way through. So we had this property, 2-bed in a central part of London, West London, and the rent was 2.2. In order for us to be able to take on this property with limited funds, we had to
negotiate specific terms.
So we had to negotiate essentially a grace-free period, which the landlord took off 3 days worth of the rent, which lowered our startup costs.
So this is basically a couple of days where we get to set up the property rent-free. We also negotiated deposit replacement insurance. So instead of paying a standard 4 to 5 week deposit up front, what we've done is paid 1 week deposit into a scheme which essentially protects us as a company and also protects the landlord up to £50,000 worth of potential damages. So that also massively helped our startup costs and lowered that up, because instead of 5 weeks, we only paid 1 week.
And the good thing with this property, it was actually part furnished. So the furniture wasn't great, but at the start we just decided to use what we had to make it work. And then we ended up using the bookings we had to replace certain furniture. So that's kind of how we started and took on our first ever unit. And well, our first unit together, I did have one before that I ended up giving back I'd say a month or two after having this unit.
And the reason why she gave that back is because she didn't do her numbers properly. Whereas with this deal, as much as I only had £4,000 at the time, we done our market research. We made sure that the numbers stacked before investing my money into that. Because when you do work really hard for your money, putting all that into something that could potentially go wrong is scary. But it was a calculated risk. It wasn't just, I'm going to throw money in here and hope it works. So that's how we essentially started together. And through that first property, it obviously performed really well. We built a good relationship with the landlord and just scaled from there.
Yeah, 2 months later, we did end up taking on another unit, which was the same location. This one was £3,300 in rent. So it was a bit more pricey than our first ever unit. And for this property, we actually decided to take out, well, I say we again, Diana decided to take out a loan for this unit. So you can explain a bit about how much your loan was.
Yeah, I mean, because I always got myself into bad debt, this time I knew I was actually getting myself into good debt, because the money I was taking out wasn't to just splash out on fancy cars or a fancy holiday. It was actually to splash out on a unit, on a property that is potentially, that was guaranteed to make me more money. So I saw it as an opportunity. I had good credit, okay credit at the time, and I thought, let me just apply for a loan, and I got accepted for a 4K loan, which was good. And I decided to use that to invest into our other property unit. At the time, I was still working a normal 9-to-5 job, and in an estate agent, I'd left my childcare job, move on to that. And I was 2 weeks into that job, and I thought it would be better for my business. I thought it would help me sort of grow more knowledge in the industry I wanted to get into. Yeah, it actually opened my eyes to what I really wanted. And as soon as we did take on our second property, I quickly decided to leave that job and actually go all in on this business, because it was making us a lot of money at the time.
Plus, while all of this was going on, guys, we were actually actively deal sourcing. So for those of you that are new here, deal sourcing or don't know about deal sourcing, it's essentially when you find Airbnb properties and instead of taking it on yourself, you source it onto an investor for a one-off fee. The fee ranges anywhere between £1,500 to £3,000. And we started deal sourcing early on into our business. We still do deal source now, but early on we were heavily deal sourcing because we didn't have that much funds to actually take on units. So we did sell quite a few units in our first month of starting and then our second month as well. And we used a lot of those funds to even help us with our second unit as well. She did take out a loan, but deal sourcing also did help because we had a bit more money behind us as it was a bigger unit.
Yeah, and a lot of people used to say, oh, like, why didn't you just take all those property deals yourself, like if it's going to make you money? The thing is, when you don't have money to invest in these deals, the only way you can actually afford to take on more deals is if you get more money. And yes, I took out a loan for a second one, but in order for us to scale, we did need more money. So that's how we made quick cash as well, through selling them onto other investors who were also looking to grow their portfolio and then reinvesting that into more properties for ourselves.
Yeah, so since then we have taken on more units. We are managing a total of 10 units, which are a mixture of Airbnb and social housing, which is another property strategy. And since then we have actually given a few units back. Some of them we have given back for different reasons, some of them due to the lease or the management. So I also do want to mention, like, it's okay to give back units as well. We're not going to have these units forever. Ideally, we do want to have them for long periods of times, but you know, sometimes it's okay to let go of properties as well.
Exactly, and we do commit to a 3-year contract with landlords, and sometimes when the contract does come to an end, we make the decision of when if we want to extend or if we want to give back. So that's another reason why some properties have also been given back as well. And that's the beauty of it with this business, is you have got the flexibility to leave contracts if you did want to focus on something else, or if you did want to take on different units in different locations, you have got that flexibility.
So now 2 years, fast forward 2 years, we are currently on holiday right now. We actually moved in together as well. So we're business partners, but now we're also roommates as well, roomies.
Yeah.
And travel buddies as well. So yeah, that's kind of a bit about our journey and how we even started our business, how we met, why we met. And yeah, fast forward to now, we're literally just still doing the same thing, still have our Airbnb business, looking to grow that and also get into the bigger projects as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people were probably thinking, oh, like, when did you know it was the right time to quit your jobs? We didn't. Like, it just felt right for us at the time. As much as we may not have been in the best position to leave, we knew what we wanted, and we had 2 strategies that could really help us get there, and we trusted the vision, and that's why we decided to go all in very early on. But it paid off. I always say calculated risks do pay off, and it has for us.
Bear in mind, guys, we were actually cleaning our Airbnb properties ourselves. Like, that's what we were using to pay ourselves at one point. So it definitely has paid off. And if you have a vision and you have a goal and you stick to it, there's no way you're not going to see the results and, you know, your desired outcome. And that's exactly just what we done.
Exactly. We did have to make a lot of sacrifices at the start of the journey. We did have to wear multiple hats at the start of the journey as well. But as we grew and as we scaled, we learned to systemize, we learned to manage a team, and we've made it hands off so that we can actually focus more so on the income producing tasks rather than the tasks that don't necessarily need us and our time.
Yes. So we hope this was very insightful on our journey and how we got started. If you do have any other questions, make sure you comment them down below, and make sure you like and subscribe to our channel.
If you do want to find us on social media, you can find me on @propertywithdiana on all platforms.
And Property by Shana on Instagram and Property by Shans on TikTok.
We also have a joint TikTok account, dianaandshana.clips. There are a lot of fake pages being made as well, so please make sure you read the username clearly to make sure you are following the right account.
Thank you for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.